are now tuned into the sounds of What Black Men Like.
The number one apex in the world. I know there's something absolutely unique about these guys.
Excellent podcast.
Women standing up for themselves. Okay.
We are back. Best podcast in the game. You are now tuned into the sounds of What Black Men Like. Welcome back to What Black Men Like, the Black Man's Lifestyle Podcast. This is yours truly, Mr. No Cap. Of course, we got the regular cast of characters in the building. Willie P, Brittany Burner. We also got our returning champion, Brother Mac is back in the building. Came to give his expert opinion. And we have two special guests, two young ladies that are doing great things out in the world, and we want to give them a chance to come in and introduce themselves. We're going to start with Miss Christal. Miss Christal, can you come in here and introduce yourself real quick?
I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much for extending the invitation. I am a writer. I'm a former entertainment publicist. I still dabble a little bit in that, but I focus mainly on writing. And also I host a YouTube channel titled From Christal XO. And we have a show there titled Dating Diaries. And then I also recap different shows, different reality television shows. But yeah, I think I'm pretty much in the space of writing and talking about relationships, be it on television, the articles I write for Collider. I'm a senior features writer there. And then I also serve as editor-in-chief for Lennox and Parker. So I'm either writing or talking about pop culture, and I'm enjoying it a lot. So I appreciate the invite.
Awesome. I think you're going to be a great person for this topic that we have tonight. Miss Christina, can you introduce yourself real quick?
Hello, all. Thank you for inviting me on this podcast. I am honored. My name is Christina Jimenez. I reside in Las Vegas, Nevada. I am from Long Beach, California. I go to Long Beach State. My major is criminal justice. I do social media for a living, and I am a dancer in Las Vegas.
Oh, shit.
Nice.
Huh?
Watch your back, Willie B. We got another criminal justice major on the show tonight.
From Las Vegas.
California, and I live in Vegas, correct?
Oh, shit. We got a gangster online.
Okay, with that being said, we about to get into this topic. Tonight, we're going to be talking about traditional women, traditional roles, and what that means in 2024. So I want to start off by having us define what you believe a traditional man is and a traditional woman. We're going to start with a traditional man. What do you think a traditional man is in 2024?
A traditional man. Woo, man, that's kind of loose right there. I think a traditional man has to be defined by masculinity, and masculinity is defined by what's absolute, what's true, what's logical, what's leadership, what's strong, right? What's the protector. That's what masculinity is defined by. Everybody doesn't fit that mold. Everybody doesn't, they're not qualified. Masculinity is extremely hard, and that's why a lot of motherfuckers are trying to get out the game.
All right. Christal, your definition or viewpoint of a traditional man in 2024.
Actually, I don't necessarily disagree with what he said. I believe that a traditional man to me is a man that values things that we were taught and have traditionally been the roles that a man is in, which is provider is the first thing that comes to mind. Someone that provides and protects, someone that sacrifices, kind of, make sure that his house and everyone in his house is a priority, even sometimes before himself. And I think it is someone that when they give you their word that they're going to do something, they stand behind it. So it's someone that has pride in the fact that they're able to take care of their family and, they stand behind the word that they give.
There you go. That's what's up.
Awesome. Christina, your definition of a traditional man.
What a good question. Traditional men is so diverse now in 2024 because there's so many different lifestyles. It's not the 50s anymore. But if I can narrow it down to a couple words, I'm going to say leader, problem solver, and protector, someone to lead his family down the right path.
Brittany Burner?
Oh yeah, no, she kind of took the cake with that one because that's what I was thinking. The modern traditional man is definitely defined by so many different factors that you can't just kind of put it into one basket. But if you are going to narrow it down, I agree with those three, and I, in general, add provider, but that's kind of also encompassed there as well.
Awesome. And Brother Mac, last but not least, Brother Mac, your viewpoint.
I think everybody encompassed it pretty well. I'll probably just add on that they're a go-getter. They have to be motivated A traditional man will go after what he wants. He's focused. He's a lifelong learner. Like I think traditional men have to be conscious of, what they're putting into their body and what they're putting into their mind. And I think just that they're the balance of the family, of the household. Like they balance everything out, smooth everything over. And I think they have to be somewhat of a clairvoyant so they can kind of avoid some of the pitfalls that their family might face.
Damn,
There you
clairvoyant.
go.
We too early in the show for them big ass words. But Willie P,
He liked them SAT words.
let's now talk about traditional women.
Shit.
In 2024? Keep that in mind. In 2024.
In 2024, a traditional woman.
Yes.
So look, I'm still say the same thing. I think a traditional woman is just exactly what it is. I don't believe in this fucking bullshit that the media is producing. I actually hate that shit where they try to trash the image of black women while they purify the image of other women. I can't stand that shit, not one fucking bit. It's a lot of classy, intelligent sisters out there, and they get overlooked because there's so many fucking trashy women out there, fucking sexy reds and fucking Megan Thee Stallion ass, right? I believe that a traditional woman is a woman that holds herself in high regard, high esteem. Not only that, but that trickles down to her family. It trickles throughout her family. I believe that a traditional woman, a good traditional woman, is going to keep everybody on the right path. Because we know as men, sometimes we can be too logical. We can be too much point A to point B. We need a woman to be in there and say, hey, you probably need to consider these other things just beside, what 1 + 1 is. You consider some other stuff. And I absolutely respect that. I find it extremely attractive. I love traditional women. So I think a traditional woman is the one that's going to be that helper to her husband. That one is going to say, hey, no, look, it's not 50-50. I'm bringing my 100. You give me your 100, and we're going to make something work. Even if you don't have your 100, bring me everything that you got, and I'm going to make a fucking meal out of that shit. That's a traditional woman to me.
Okay. Christal.
Oh dear. Well, unfortunately, in my opinion, a traditional woman, and we're talking about in the African American community. Unfortunately, a traditional woman has had to carry a big part of the load on her back. And so it's funny when I hear, I hear men talk about what they want in a woman, and a lot of them don't realize that a lot of times that woman that worked 8 to 10 hours a day, came home, cleaned and cooked, put up with everything, possibly got taken advantage of, but still was gracious and didn't say anything. A lot of that was because they did not have a choice. They did not have the opportunity to do a lot. So unfortunately, the idea of a traditional woman in the Black community, we haven't had the luxury of being a woman who is just a helpmate and someone who's able to contribute. We've had to do everything and pull the load for everybody. And so I don't think a lot of women today want to, like, there's no blueprint for what that traditional woman was. Because if you look at it from our grandmothers and our great grandmothers, it was usually a woman who was left alone to do everything for herself. And if she wasn't doing everything for herself, she was definitely contributing a lot more than she was getting out of the situation. So I think that for our community, we really have to start to create what we want to see as far as that. But as far as like there being a traditional woman where, when you look at other cultures, it could have been like, we grew up watching like the television shows from the 60s and 70s where there was the cleavers, and you had the mom that stayed at home and she cooked and she cleaned and she smiled when the husband came home, and she made sure the kids were good. That reality does not exist in our community. And it's not necessarily anyone's fault. So I'm not blaming anyone. I'm just saying that we don't have that traditional picture. We had grandmothers that, that cooked and cleaned and dealt with whatever grandfather was dishing out. But if you look deeper than that, a lot of times there was a lot that she had to do because her husband was being oppressed and he couldn't, or he left, and she had to handle everything by herself. And so I don't really see a picture of what is traditional in a functionally healthy way for African American women. I think we're just starting that, hopefully with our generation.
Interesting. Christina,
Okay.
your viewpoint on traditional women in 2024.
Wow, Miss Jordan, I really agree with a lot of the things that she said. I think one of the only things that differ, in my opinion, is the respect part. I try my best to respect men and make them feel like a man and honor their leadership. But I agree with what Miss Jordan said, that it's been a little rough to hold those traditional values because we've been labeled to be strong and independent. I'm not strong or independent, so I can't really follow, those things. In 2024, I don't think we have traditional men or traditional women. So I guess that's something that we could work on.
Okay.
Brittany Burner.
Um, I actually find that interesting. I would like to say that that strength in so many things can be translated into multifaceted, and I think that's something women have always been, because we have had to put on those pants when the men were away at war and things like that occur. So I agree to a degree. But I feel like traditional Black women have been homemakers for a long time. You have also the education. Women are definitely nurturers, just by nature. So I would definitely say I believe that we do have those traditional values that we bring to the table. As far as 2024 goes, that gets tricky. you know Everybody's allowed to be what they want to be, so we have so many different avenues and categories that people can choose. Everybody wants their own lane, but at the end of the day, you find traditional woman, someone who does have higher standards and upholds their boundaries and demands respect in a way. You also have still the homemaker, quote unquote, expectation that goes along with being a woman, and the softness, creating that nest for your family and things like that. So even when we have our conversations, what men are looking for in women, what is the expectations of a woman, I feel like those are the things that are projected as those traditions. So for sure, there's still someone there hoping that we're doing all of those things.
Brother Mac, your opinion.
Well, I think that society is like slowly but surely massaged the idea of gender norms or gender roles. They massaged it away. I don't think it exists anymore. I don't think there's a set expectation for a woman or for a man. Society today is making up the rules as they go along, and I think it's some negative side effects that come to that, and that's going to be, for one, it's going to be the Black family, because I mean you have to have somebody that's going to be in charge of the household, what's going on in the house, being a nurturer. If that person is working 9 to 5 and the significant other's working 9 to 5, then who's raising the kid? You're spending your money on paying somebody else to raise your kids. And that's what I'm starting to see in society. It's just like, not to bash women or not to put it all on women, but women are no longer intrigued by the idea of being that traditional figure in the household. They want more. And that's cool. But I feel like if you want to have kids, I think that you need to prioritize, your career goals and put everything in proper order.
So just summing up what I heard, it sounds like there's way more clarity in terms of what a traditional man is, but the
Right.
traditional woman is kind of in flux. It's kind of evolving before our eyes. It
But you
sounds
know what? I'm gonna absolutely highlight what you said, Mr. No Cap. You hit the nail on the head with that shit. It was easy as fuck for everybody to describe the role of a traditional man or what it is to be a traditional man. But when it came time to describe what it is to be a traditional woman, oh, motherfuckers was tongue tied, confused. They didn't know what the fuck to say.
now there's a couple anecdotal examples that I saw on social media in terms of like what is the example of a traditional woman and man in today's society. So for example, for men, if you had to, could you change your tire? Is that a criteria?
Hell
Uh,
yeah. Oh,
so
it's
do
a
you,
requirement.
for women, it was can you make a meal from scratch? Using that anecdotal criteria, being able to make a meal from scratch. Do you
Mhm.
think that that's something that women should be able to hold on to in 2024?
Honestly, if you're asking me what would Crystal want for her community, I agree with what you said earlier. Like, we have moved so far away from our own culture and assimilated, again, no fault of our own, to where we put more things in place to where we don't respect family. We don't respect the values and our culture that, we are quickly losing. So I do think that it would be great in my perfect world if grandmothers would teach their granddaughters how to cook, and their mothers and the women would spend more time doing that. Unfortunately, myself included, I did learn, that from my mom and my grandmother a little bit. But unfortunately, when there's an imbalance in the house, a lot of times women, you're not spending time teaching your daughter how to cook because you're out trying to make money. And you're teaching her that she should be out trying to make money and that she shouldn't be caring about anything besides making money. And I think that is a big part of the problem with our community now, is that we're teaching men and women to chase money. And as a result of that, we are losing, forget traditional or non-traditional, people are losing the essence of what is important, because I think that's one of the reasons it's so difficult to be in a relationship with a man or a woman, because everyone is focused on chasing something that's not real, right? So women don't value making sure that the house is great and making sure that the kids are their homework, sitting down with your kids and doing their homework. All you're doing is telling your kids, well, mommy got to go get the bag. So to answer your question, I kind of went around, I guess around the bush to do it. But I do think that a woman should be able to do that. But I think that a woman should have the space to be able to say, okay, baby, let me teach you how to do this. And I think a lot of our mothers today, my mom didn't have time to do that. She was too busy trying to take care of my brother and I. So we were latchkey kids, eating what we could create while she was at work. And then on the weekend, she's probably too busy to do a whole lot of that. And I see a lot of that today. And that's sad, but I think that's where our society is moving toward.
You think that's a Black community issue?
I'm speaking about the Black community because that's where my heart and concern is. But no,
Okay.
I think that's probably everyone. But I think the reason that things affect us harder is because we are always at the bottom end of everything, right? In the United States, there are some of us that are doing well, but we're always at the bottom of the issues, the dangers, the health issues, the financial issues. So when you are at the bottom and you are the community that gets impacted the most, then every issue is going to impact you the most.
Well, America has a code. The Black America has cancer. Like that's been
Exactly.
the
Exactly.
prevailing theme throughout our history. But Christina, you were in the younger generation, Gen Z. So how are you viewing the idea of being able to make a meal from scratch, feed everybody in the house? How is your generation of women viewing that ideology?
Great question. So, my generation, we saw what our mom went through. We saw what grandma went through. Grandma said, oh, I have to stay home. I got to have all these kids. I got to take care of everybody, cook, clean, and do all the things while my husband whoops my ass, while he cheats on me, and while he goes out the family and has another kid by the lady down the street. We saw that. We said, oh, yeah, no, we're not taking part of that. My generation, we leave as soon as stuff gets iffy. We're like, oh, yeah, you're not going to treat me right. We're out. Do I
Hmm.
think a woman should do all the things? Absolutely. I think a woman should know how to cook. But like Miss Jordan said, when both parents are out there getting money, we don't see the family. In a two-parent household, especially in the Black community today, is imperative. Where we got too much gang violence, too much stuff going on, we need to have two-parent households. Now, the thing where I don't know if you guys have heard on social media, the ladies are saying, well, we want to have a soft life. We want to be taken care of. And I'm not mad at the women for saying that, because we're tired of being the backbone. The bottom of the totem pole when it comes to people, Black women are dead last. But we're number one to defend our Black brothers. You cannot disrespect a Black man in front of me. It won't happen. It's not going to go down like that.
What?
So,
Really?
are you kidding me? No
Well,
way.
I'm not saying for you personally, but I'm gonna let you finish your thought and then we'll come back to it.
Yeah, no problem. So this whole soft girl era thing, women are kind of tired of being the strong and independent and we got to do everything. We rather go somewhere where it brings more ease and more clarity to the situation. But I know me and the people around me, you cannot disrespect a Black man. If I see a Black man getting pulled over, I'm on the cross the street looking. I'm, making sure everything is good because that's a fellow brother or sister.
Love that. Matt, what is your experience dealing with women that are trying to navigate this new space of, yeah, they want to be able to hold on to some traditional values, but the soft girl era, these new concepts that they're trying to merge together. It's almost like they're trying to create a whole new identity.
Well, I'm married, man. I've been married for 9 years. My wife and I, we believe in a two-parent household. We have 4 kids. We have 3 sons. So it's important that they see their father every day. It's important that they see their mother every day and they see the relationship that we have and we model what an appropriate relationship should look like. My wife has a master's degree. I have a master's degree. My wife is working 9 to 5 and I'm working 9 to 5. our relationship is a lot different than quote unquote tradition. We basically gravitate towards what we're good at. So, I mean, I don't necessarily expect my wife to cook if my wife doesn't know how to cook, and I'm a great cook. You know what I mean? I don't mind cooking. It's actually a stress reliever for me to cook. So I gravitate towards that. I hate cleaning. My wife doesn't love cleaning, but she's good at it and she doesn't mind doing it. And I absolutely hate it. So it's like one hand washes the other. And I think the young lady nailed it when she said, you know, women saw what their grandparents went through, what their mother went through, and they didn't want any parts of that. You know, the negative side of that is a reality, but, you know, it comes with a cost. You know what I'm saying? If you don't want to put yourself in that position, if you don't want to sacrifice certain things, if you don't want to provide for your family first and then take care of yourself, then you're going to perpetuate an issue in our community where kids are raised unsupervised, kids are raised, you know, uneducated and not by book smart, but just knowing how to survive and knowing how to be in a successful relationship themselves.
I think we focus a lot. It's easier to remember the negative aspects of your childhood and certain things that you went through. You don't really put emphasis on the positive side of grandma and grandpa, like all of the positive things about their relationship that impacted you. I think it's very easy to focus on the negative, and we tend to lose the positive things that came from that generation. Talk about grandma being treated badly, but we don't really talk about how she was provided for and taken care of and how grandpa really held down the family in certain ways. So that may be a childhood perspective that we need to think about as adults. But Willie P, go ahead.
You know what? I agree. I absolutely agree. You bring it back home, and I appreciate you, brother Mac, for supporting black fathers, black husbands, black traditional households. I absolutely respect you, bro. Shout out to all the black fathers out there. Y'all don't get enough respect. I'm giving it to you right now. You get it right here on this podcast. So look, this is what I want to say. I absolutely agree with what you're saying, Mr. No Cap. You know, a lot of times people do, they take most of the negative aspects along with them, and then they tend to wash away the positive aspects. That happens a lot in the black community. Well, I'm not going to say in the black community. It happens a lot in black publicity. I think what ends up happening is that we get the negative end of the stick when it comes to our image, how we are portrayed in public, right? If somebody never met a black person in their life, and then the first thing they did was listen to this show to get an aspect or try to get an understanding of what it is to be a black man or a black woman, what would they hear? Right? Social media, it teaches a lot of people how to be fucking dumb. I'm not calling anybody dumb on this panel. But what I'm saying is, like, if social media is your source of information, then you really are gonna be a slave to society, because social media is where stupid people go to talk about dumb shit. And if you are an intelligent person, you don't regurgitate that. I came from Birmingham, where traditional households are the norm, especially with black people. So I want us to stop all the fucking black dumping, because that's pretty much what it is. People say negative shit about black people, then they pay black people to say negative shit about black people, and then we repeat this shit. And really, what ends up happening is we doing the fucking colonizers' job for them. You ask me, Willie P just got to keep it fucking real. I'm tired of people dumping on fucking the black community, and I am aiming to fucking stop that shit.
Say it with your chest then. Say it with your chest, Willie P. Okay.
Say it with your sense. I said, yeah, say it again, because you know why.
I do, because motherfuckers are intimidated. Motherfuckers are intimidated by intelligent black men. Motherfuckers are intimidated by classy black women that speak articulately.
I was gonna say, what you saying all that, you realize they also don't want us to prosper, because if we are telling each
Agree.
other and doing educated things, as mad as you are, sexy red, guess what that hoe know? Business, business.
She know hoe business.
She knows business on a certain level. I don't know if she knows business on a level that really would benefit our community, because if she did, I think they would shut her down. I think she knows how to be a worker, but not necessarily how to be a boss. But I want to talk about this thing that happened recently. There was a comment by a young lady named Joy Taylor. Joy Taylor and another young lady have a podcast. Both of them are extremely attractive. Joy Taylor made a comment about women's standards. And I think that relates to traditional women, because traditional women have very solid standards in terms of what they would tolerate and the type of men they would deal with. Joy Taylor made a comment that said, if a man is fine enough, if he's funny enough, and if he has enough fucking money, that women will throw their standards out the window. Do you feel like that's a true statement for women in 2024? I'll start with Crystal.
Ooh, that's a that's a rough question. And I think good quality women require quality men, right? But I also think that a lot of times both sides mistake quality for the external. We know that men love beautiful women and women love financially independent, secure men. So a lot of times a woman will mistake a man who has monetary goods for a good man and not, do her due diligence. And a lot of times men will mistake a beautiful woman for a good woman. So I think, yes, often as a man and you have your finances are together and you have a little bit, yeah, you probably do get by with some character issues. But in the same token, as for a woman, if a woman is, you could look like delicious, you could probably do a few more things and get away with a few more things than another woman could. And I think both sides, we have to go back to just appreciating character and really looking past that, because at the end of the day, we're talking about family and what is the best for our future as a community. Then we're going to have to look beyond the physical beauty and finances. I think sometimes we confuse what looks a certain way for what looks like good stuff for what really is good stuff. And I think it's not just men that do it, and it's not just women that do it. I think both sides do it.
Okay. Christina, what do you think about that comment that I just read from Miss Joy Taylor?
Yes, I agree. I think a woman that doesn't have as much will put up with a lot of it. We see it today. We see the man with the money, and the chick knows he's out there doing his own thing. But since she's taken care of, she doesn't care. She lets him do that, all for the sake of trying to look good or trying to keep that upkeep for the lifestyle. I do think in this dating age, we date more surface level. We don't date for the soul. We don't date for the heart anymore. It's more of what can you do for me when it's man or women. But yes, I do agree with that, and I've seen that firsthand.
I agree with what she said, but I mean, I just want to make sure that we also acknowledge that the same happens on the other side. So what the young lady said that you read the quote was true. Yeah, of course. If he has money, he can get away with stuff. But if a woman has a 21-inch waist and a 40-inch hip, she could get away with a lot of stuff too. We got to be honest,
Nah,
So
that ain't true.
no, Willie P. I ain't gonna. Go ahead, Brittany Burner. Go ahead, Brittany Burner.
Yeah, I agree with that to a degree too, because you definitely know the pretty girls get stuff out of y'all. That's why we talked about pretty girl privilege in one of these.
Nah,
Anyway,
nah.
what I was going to actually go into is I didn't fuck the wrong nigga because he was fine. I didn't definitely dealt with the wrong nigga because he done had a good amount of money and he could spoil me. And I done damn sure dealt and been fooled by a funny ass nigga because all of these things come with maturity, both sides of the fence. Each side of us get distracted by all three. There's definitely a butterhead that y'all done seen that was funny as hell that you fucked with. But with what we're talking about, as you mature, those boundaries and those things settle in. And like we talked about, you start to have those ideas of what you believe a traditional woman is. And when that sets in, your boundaries are a little higher and you don't get fooled by just a little joke or a little cute face or what have you. So, yeah.
Hallelujah. You preaching right now. You spitting the gospel right now.
Man,
I
I don't think y'all talking about men. Y'all talking about suckers. Men and suckers ain't the same damn thing, right? A man is gonna have some standards. If you got a trashy ass attitude, you are out the fucking door. I mean, fuck what a chick look like, what a woman look like, all right? If she don't know how to shut the fuck up, right? If she don't know how to control her damn mouth in public or act like she got some damn sense or some decorum, I ain't fucking with her, right? That shit won't get my dick hard. Why the fuck? Why would I do that? Why would a man like me fuck with a woman that ain't got no fucking self control? No.
I don't know who I mean, I don't know you personally, sir, but I know I've worked with a lot of men. I would say the majority of men, I can't put a number on it, but the vast majority of men will acknowledge they are weak for a beautiful woman. Come on
Well,
now.
here's a okay. Wait a minute. Hold on. What's the difference between a man, a male, and a sucker?
I don't know,
No,
but I
Exactly. You don't know, but I do.
all,
But I
all three,
do.
all
I
three of them,
do know
all
the
three,
difference.
all three of them things are weak for a beautiful woman. All three, a
Bullshit.
man,
Now the
I
or
no,
man.
I agree to a certain extent because it's what you do with that weakness. So a man is going to take that weakness in quotation marks for a beautiful woman and compartmentalize it and put it where it's
yeah,
supposed to be. A male is going to
but
say, "God damn, I need to," and a sucker is going to give his whole life away just to be around that. So,
Wait, let's get Brother Mac in here. He'll make sense out of this situation. Brother, speak this logic.
Honestly, man, I think it just depends on your experience and what you've been through. Because if you've been surrounded by beautiful women, then a beautiful woman won't phase you. It's
There you
like,
go.
you know what I'm saying? It's plenty of beautiful women. There's, in fact, more beautiful women than ugly women in the world, in my opinion. So, I mean, it's like a dime a dozen. It's way more women out here than men. So, like I say, I don't really feel like all the pressure is on the man to do anything. I feel like the man just has to be that, just be a man, just be masculine, just stand on his own. And I think he'll attract what he wants. I feel like a woman will switch up on and kind of lower the bar if her standards were low to begin with. I feel like if her standards were high, I don't think that a guy's personality, his looks, his charm, his money, I don't think that's going to affect or impact her. Not a real woman, not an intelligent woman, and definitely not a woman who knows what she wants. The issue is it's a lot of women that don't know what they want. And that's when the issues arise. That's when the confusion arises. But yeah, same for the men. I feel like women put too much value in physical appearance when 90% of the physical appearance that you see these days is fake anyway. You got fake lashes, fake, makeup on, you got a fake ass, you got fake tits. To me personally, I'm not attracted to that. Like I like natural beauty. So it's like,
Right.
and then you got to look at what's the definition of beauty. That's different to every guy that you speak to. Every man that you speak to is going to have a different definition of what beauty is and what turns him on and what he's attracted to. I
Let
love
me
dark skinned women. To me, that's the most beautiful woman there is a dark skinned woman.
exactly, yeah, chocolate.
Exactly. I love that chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
But
chocolate.
see,
That ooh wee.
y'all keep talking about suckers versus men and stuff, and that's that maturity thing that I'm saying. I mean, if we want to talk about maturity level, we can get into it, but we talking about people with dicks. How do they handle that situation?
I
Fucking
love
Brittany
it.
Burner.
I
Why?
love it. I love
Why?
it. I love it.
Now,
I
look,
love
I'm
it.
so
And
fucking
look,
offended by that shit.
he's
A male with no experience. It's just like buying a fucking car. If you don't know what a good car is, you will get anything. You'll let a motherfucker talk you into fucking anything. That's the same thing it is with experience with women. If you don't have any experience with women, then she gonna walk up to you and say, hey, buy me this, buy me that, all that other stuff. She'll use her beauty to pull everything out of you. But if you have experience with women, you say, hey, look, hell no.
I think Britt is saying we should probably speak to which probably is the majority of people out here operating in a way that is not mature, that is not manly. These women are dealing with a lot of males, and we're talking about
Yes,
men, but that's not really been their experience. They've dealt with a lot of males. So
exactly.
How they gonna get anything more if all they have to offer is their quote unquote beauty or their physical appearance? Like that's all
Mm.
you're gonna get at surface level from any man if
right.
that's all you bring to the table. Like
You look, I know we had to bring him back, man. Brother Mac, man.
man.
Hold on, real quick though. Crystal, I just want to direct this question to you. Is that a common understanding amongst women that men do actually prefer a
Beauty?
more natural beauty?
Yeah, I think women know that. This is probably going to be a statement that a lot of women aren't going to like. But I think most women know that men prefer a woman that can be beautiful without all the accoutrements, right? But the
Ooh, I like
reality
that
is,
word.
so I mean, we just have so many issues, within our culture. A lot of men, oh, I just prefer a woman with long hair. So what do women start doing? Okay, he wants that look. I'll add some weave. I'll add some tracks. I'll add that because I want to look like that too, right? So then makeup initially was supposed to accent and make you look like you were just beautiful with nothing on. It has taken a turn. But I
Mm.
think that a lot of times women are trying to achieve a look like they just woke up like this, like Beyonce said. And the reality is men are not tricked and they know that it's not, well, they, a little bit. If they're young, they may not know all the tricks of the trade. But I do think that women do know. I think that the beauty industry plays on self-esteem of women and
Mm.
wins.
Right.
But I think most women are trying to use all that extra stuff to look like they're just naturally beautiful, and they don't really believe they are. They wouldn't be doing all that. You know what I mean? So,
Mm.
Now, them some facts I can agree with, but I would also say that in my experience, now I'm not gonna try to speak for all women. In my experience, females that think like that, but I don't think that women think like that. I think those are just females. But females that think like that, they're actually competing against each other. They're competing against other females. They're not competing for the attention of men. They are actually competing against the other female to be more attractive than her.
I don't understand why men think that. At the end of the day, women want the man's attention. She's going to try to look better than the other woman that is getting all the man's attention. So when you see all these quote unquote bad chicks and bad bitches and all they're doing is trying to out bad bitch each other to get the man's attention. I
Yeah,
don't
that's what I just said.
it's not for the woman, it's for him. Oh, I see that she has 2 million likes on her picture. Let me do what she's doing and try to do that better
Mm.
so I can get his attention. It's still all for men.
I want to
Exactly
give
what you're
Crystal a
saying.
chance to tell people where to find her because I know she has to get out of here. So Crystal, if you want to come in here,
I
we'll
hate how
definitely try to get you back on. We'll get you back on. It's fine.
thank you. I you can find me on YouTube at From Crystal with Love XO. I'm on Instagram at the real Crystal Jordan. Again, thank you guys so much for having me on. I definitely would love to come back.
Awesome. Thank you for coming, Crystal. We'll definitely be in touch and get you back on.
Hey, but
A
Mr. No
listener,
Cap, can we pause for a second? I'd like to get Miss Christina's
yeah.
input because look, she represents the intelligent woman, the educated woman. Is that right, Miss Christina? The intelligent woman, a little bit of gangster on the side
You just saying that because she's from California. That's funny as hell.
because she know it's true. You see how she didn't deny it.
Go ahead, Christina. Did you have something to add real quick before we move on?
I'm agreeing with a little bit of both of you guys. I think the women nowadays, what we saw what the men was going for, and which was the big booty and the accoutrements and the body and stuff like that. So the girls said, okay, well, I want that now because I want them to see me. I don't think enough of Black men or Black women are themselves. You see men, and the first thing you see is them trying to be something that they're not, whether it's the car, the house, the money, whatever. I wish our community looked a little bit more inside the person instead of the outside. And so far as the whole looks thing, if you see a woman or a man using the outside to try and wheel you in, I think you should deal with someone, a man or a woman, more of substance, heart, value, truth. I think we're too focused on, oh, I'm dealing with the baddest bitch. Okay, but does she got a heart? I'm dealing with the man with the money. Okay, but does he treat you right? Outside stuff and all this ego and all this pride and trying to look good for the gram. Do something for yourself is my point.
And I will say, if you look at a lot of those likes on those posts, a lot of those likes are women. So don't get fooled by the likes on social media, booties or whatever you want to call. Like a lot of those likes are women liking those posts. So don't think it's just men. It's not just men liking those pictures. But this audience question was about daddy's girls, girls that were daddy's girls, and what that looks like when they become adults. So when you have women that were like really daddy's girls, they are susceptible to being love bombed. A man could come in and love bomb them and then basically manipulate their ass because they were used to being love bombed in a real way by their father. So, what do you think about that idea of women that were daddy's girls being susceptible to being love bombed or manipulated by a man? What do you think about that concept?
So I'm a daddy's girl, and all the things are nice, but when I got into the dating world, I understood that the things does not make the heart happy. So I don't really look for the gifts and stuff like that. I look for more of the character. I was also raised to be independent and to not depend on a man, even though I'm the complete opposite now. I think women should keep those, standards. And if that's a big problem for the man, then maybe you guys just aren't compatible. I don't think the whole brattiness, though the whole being rude and disrespecting men is something that's good. But if it's a standard that she just likes to upkeep, then yeah, go for it. Just like men have their standards.
Pretty
Okay.
burner.
So interestingly enough, I'm also somewhat of a daddy's girl. I feel like the journey started out strong and then the teenage years came and we were like too strict. And of course we're back. That's my man's 100 grand, right? So I will say that I had a type of household where just generally speaking, my parents are older. So we don't do that whole communicate about all the super personal things in detail situation. You get to know a little bit, but it's not one of those you're my best friend and I tell you everything that happens, right? So I say that to say that, when it comes to talking about the dating world with my dad, did he give me tips and pointers to avoid the wrong people? Absolutely. But do I feel slightly attacked because I'm somewhat realizing maybe I did let that love bomb thing happen when I was younger? Because to be completely honest, there were definitely like my dad was always silly, fun, and playful and in my face and like he's my favorite person and I'm his favorite person. So, I'm used to having that masculinity around me. And obviously when it came to, dealing with the dating world, someone who showed that type of affection is like, oh man, he loves me.
That's what the question was getting at. I think you
Yeah,
touched on it right there.
but you learn, you grow up. So again, like female to woman, I call it maturity. But when that happens, you realize that just to love someone isn't enough. There's things that come with that, the morals, the values, the yokedness, and all the other things that kind of come with relationship, as we've talked about, are things that start to be more important and prevalent. So you learn, you live and you learn.
Willie P, Mac, before we close out, you got anything to add on that?
Brother Mac.
Man, I'm not too sure how to answer that question. My daughter is my firstborn, so I mean, I'm always gonna have a special relationship with her. She doesn't always listen to what I have to say. She's, strong-willed, and I love that about her, and that's how I want her to be. I feel like a successful parent is gonna prepare their kid to live their own life. I would say that the difference maker between my wife and all the other women that I dealt with in the past was that she had her father. She had her mother. She got to see how her mother and her father interacted. So she knew how to treat me when we got in a relationship. She knows how to listen to me when I'm upset and understand that I'm not yelling, I'm just talking loud. You know what I mean? There's certain things like that, she gets from the relationship that she witnessed with her parents. So I feel like a woman that doesn't have that is at a disadvantage. And I think I would much rather have the first than the last. I would much rather want my daughter to be one that's potentially love bombed than for her to not have me and not be prepared and not know how to deal with a man.
Mm, that was good. That was some good shit right there, Mac. Especially if you got a daughter, if you're a man raising a daughter, that was some powerful stuff. But that's all the time we have for tonight. I want to have Christina come in here and tell people where to find her. Definitely represented for the Gen Zers because I was losing faith in y'all, but you came in and restored some of my faith.
No, no, no. Don't lose faith in us now. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. It is at Miss Jimenez at ms.jiimenez on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. So I'm usually on all those platforms with reels and TikTok videos and all that. And I just want to say a very big thank you for having me on. And I would love to come back again. And I would also say that I appreciate everyone's opinion. I wrote down some great notes, and I'm so happy I was able to listen to you guys and take everything in.
We'll definitely look forward to having you back on again. What Black Men Like, best podcast in the game. We did it again, y'all. We out of here. Deuces.